And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Yes, I know it's a little bit sooner than what we thought it would be, but leave it to Rob and JJ to go ahead and put out some interesting little things in their little press conference today. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here for the Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. I am going to be dropping the latest Pop Culture Cosmos. It's actually the PCC Multiverse. It's the state of pro wrestling. That's going to be coming up for you when I drop it on everyone out there on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It was a little bit of something, JSJ. Little bit of something. And it had our WhatsApp chat talking. I'll just say that. Yes, you would rather watch Wrestle. Oh, that's not nice. That is not nice, JSJ. That's not kind at all. Banning is an option on this channel. I just want to remark that as well. But just to say. No, I'm just kidding you, JSJ. But it is, of course, the Pop Culture Cosmos, the state of pro wrestling, where we do talk WrestlePalooza versus AEW's All Out. The higher prices of WWE, man, it's getting way too expensive. No, I'm not going to WrestleMania. I was thinking about it, and then I saw the prices, and $850. I think it's $850 for 2 days. It's the price for the 400 seats. That's the cheap seats in the Allegiant Stadium. I've been in the 400s. I've been in the 100s, 200s, 300s, and 400s. Yeah, the 400s are pretty damn high. And yes, I'm probably not going to go ahead and spend that kind of money on it. But yes, we will talk, or we are, and we did talk, John, Orlando, and I, about the high prices for the WWE. So go ahead and catch it today. Plus, is AEW getting all the best wrestlers? That was a comment that was made, and we touch upon it on the show. So go ahead and check that out on YouTube right now, Pop Culture Cosmos, or for those listening, it'll be on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel on Apple Podcasts and Spotify on Friday morning. JSJ said, correction, he would rather watch WrestlePalooza than the press conference. Well, I don't like watching those things either. I just get the notes, and if you got Lakers Fast Break on the Twitter, I was retweeting all the notes. So if you are a follower of the Lakers Fast Break on Twitter, you got all the updates on it. Sports Baby said, Gerald, you were right. Pelinka still has a say. Yes. He did. Oh, yeah. 805. Yeah, I got it cut. When was that? Saturday. Was it Friday? Friday or Saturday? I got it cut last week. So, yes. It's better shorter. It just gets so messy when it's long. Plus, on top, it gets all kind of bushy and all that. It's not the way it used to be when I used to have brownish red hair and it was really looking good, and a lot of people would give me compliments on my hair. Those days are long gone, that's for sure. JSJ says, let's go Dodgers first, the NL West. Yes, they did clinch it earlier today, the NL West, so congratulations to the Dodgers. Celebrating today. They're a clinched third place wild card, so they'll be facing the sixth place wild card team coming up here. So that's their new thing for them, because this is their first wild card, I think, since 22, I think was what I read. But it is over, I think, their 12th division title in 13 years, something like that. It's just really the success is there. So congratulations to the Dodgers. Did I donate? 805 question. Good question. I did not. I do not know in town where I think I've only seen a couple here in the past few years where they actually have where you can donate it, or have those events where you can donate. But that happens again, and my hair is shabby. I will consider that. Absolutely. That would be actually kind of cool, because it would go to a great cause. But really, do you think anybody really wants my gray, mushy hair? I don't know. Okay. All right. What's up, Drip Show? Hey, while you're at it out there, you guys and gals are not going to spend money on an Xbox handheld, as JSJ is now laughing at me because, he's got a much cheaper Switch too, by the way. So, yes, $500 less. Way to go, Xbox. Yeah, I got that email dropped before IGN posted it out there what the prices were at. I got the email dropped about 30 minutes before, and I looked at it. It was like $1,000 for an Xbox handheld. I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's just not there. So instead of spending your money on Xbox handhelds at what, 600 and 1,000 respectively, I believe it is, spend your money on more wise things, like going over to Rip Show's shop on Instagram and, of course, on Twitter. You go to Drip Show's place. You check out all the great stuff that he's done, all the great work he's done. In fact, that Kobe sign I showed you guys the other day, that's going to replace Master Chief there in the corner. That's one of my to-do projects before the start of the season is to put that bad boy up there. And Joe has his share. He's got one in the background as well. He also gets hats. He also gets shirts. You out there should ask your significant others to go ahead and have something like that done for you. You can just go ahead and at Drip Show Shop, request what you need. He'll see if he can do it, and he'll give you a fair price for it, I'm sure, and he'll send it to you. And dude, you'll be rocking with that holiday gift out there. Absolutely, best place to go for your holiday gifts. Drip Show Shop right there. Also, as well, of course, good friends right there, Empire Jeff TV. He's happy because the Dodgers clinched the NL West. Joe Sorrell is happy because they clinched the NL West as well. Also, our good friends, excuse me, Lakerholics.com. Lakerholics.com, Laker Tom is there trying to trade the entire team along with Jamie Sweet and also as well Michael Heinrich. Big shout out to Michael Heinrich. Aloha, my friend. Yeah, I just had some Hawaiian Brothers here in Las Vegas. Actually, really good food. They're opening up tomorrow. I had a soft opening today. It was really good. Free food. Oh, I like it. So go ahead and check out the Lakerholics. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights, yo, and also as well, of course, our good friends out on the Twitter, including Alfred Esmond, Legend on I Got Next Sports Media. Also, our good friend Stone Hansen. He is not dead. Thank goodness. Reports of his demise have been greatly exaggerated. So go ahead and make sure you follow him at report_court because he is still the master of the NBA draft. So go ahead and check that out as well. And then, of course, we've got some other hopefully good things and good people returning, hopefully, in the way as well in the coming days. So look forward to checking this out. Plus, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're not subscribed or you're not a member, you're not getting those NBA team reports first. Members for just $2.99 a month are getting NBA team reports. I just dropped another one right on. And of course, it goes out a day later to everyone else, but you want to be the first in line to get it. You want to be the first in line to see it. You want to be the first in line to see what they think of the Lakers. So go ahead and become a member today for just $2.99 a month right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. DBSH, yo, go ahead and check out his great channel. Once again, like and subscribe right there for you at DBSH, Daniel Barry Sports Highlights, and of course, the Lakers Fast Break. So I did say I was not going to be doing a show for a few days because I didn't think today's press conference was going to be much. It's just going to be blah, 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 blah. Well, there's a little more than blah, 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 because our WhatsApp chat went a little bit nutso when they heard the news during the press conference that Rob Pelinka has extended JJ Redick's contract. It was already 3 years left on the contract, I believe, because he originally signed for a 4-year contract, but he was given an extension on top of that. Also, as well, made mention the other notable news out there among the other things he said about Austin Reeves, Luka, of course. It was so funny because they were talking about Austin Reeves getting in shape, working real hard in the offseason. And then my mind still comes back to what I saw him eating the popcorn at the Thomas and Mack right there for Summer League. But anyways, I digress. They're talking about his hard work during the offseason. But then he talked about, of course, LeBron James. LeBron James said the first thing we want to do in terms, and this is Rob Pelinka, what's he saying? Quote, the first thing we want to do in terms of LeBron and his future is just give him absolute respect to choose his story with his family in terms of how many years he's going to continue to play. He has earned that right. So with that, and also as well, the JJ Redick extension caught the eye of one Joe Soro, because I let him know that JJ got it. He's like, what? And then, of course, you go to the WhatsApp. Everybody on the chat is like, what?
You're awesome.
Thank you, DBSH. Truly appreciate you going ahead and becoming a member again. You've been a member before. Truly appreciate you doing so. So with that, Joe Soro is here. Of course, the Joe Soro Experiment, home of your inside information on the NL West champion Dodgers, and also as well, of course, Simblades with a Y.com. Good to have you here, my friend. DBSH, 11 months of membership. Go Lakers. And with that, my friend, you've heard the press conference. You've heard the highlights. JJ gets extension. I know we talked about this last night in regards to JJ's future with Mark Walter coming in there. All that, wants his own GM, will get his own GM, will get his own coach. I don't know. They're not acting like they're going on the way out, are they, Joe?
Well, the Dodgers are going to be north of $500 million in terms of total payroll for the Dodgers, including taxes and fees and incentives and all those things. My cynical side says if JJ is not up to snuff, I don't think it's going to kill him too much if they have to eat the contract. But it is an odd.
Genie gave Rob conveniently an extension earlier, I believe this.
It is, yeah. It was the Luka Doncic grab extension, and
you have an extension, and you have an extension, and you have an extension.
Yeah, I don't know why this needed to happen. He had 3 years left on his contract. I felt in the history of the Lakers coaching carousel, even Phil Jackson never went beyond 5 years in 2 stints. So are they trying to build continuity at the head coaching position? Yeah, probably, maybe. I don't know. But I'm just surprised that they gave him an extension. We'll see how it plays out. I don't know. I won't know until this team is Luka Doncic run, not LeBron James run. It's got to be Luka Doncic's title team, and then that's when you're going to really be able to judge JJ Redick. And having continuity at the head coaching position is something that I hold value on. And maybe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe they're getting ahead of it a little bit this time.
So speaking of Mr. LeBron James, I mentioned the comments before. Pelinka was asked by the pool of press reporters that were there about LeBron and if they want him to retire as a Laker. And Pelinka responded, "We would love if LeBron's story would be he retired a Laker. That would be a positive story." So with that, man, again, it's all nicey-nicey. The words are nicey-nicey coming out of Rob Pelinka's mouth about trying to see a future where LeBron may stay on past this season. What's your thoughts?
Sure, but not at $50 million.
Mm-hmm.
And that's got to be a priority for the Lakers. If LeBron wants to stay, he can't be anywhere near that number. And in all honesty, I think it's time to turn the page on LeBron James, unless they win a championship. And we've said that a few times here the last year. I don't really pay attention too much to what Rob says. Rob talks like a generic tape recorder.
Look a little shaky. I mean, he had even more of a growth.
Yeah, he's a walking cliche company man PC speaker. I don't really have a lot of insight or focus on that, other than what I just said. JJ Redick comes off like a guy who knows it all. Maybe he'll be able to show it one day. And that's kind of where it is. I don't. Talking this does not do we talk on this show because that's what we're supposed to do. But when it's not to entertain or to give out information or opinions, when it comes down to work, actually getting things done in the real work, it's put your head down and go get the work done. Talk after. And that's how it should be. And they're doing a press conference. They got to obviously update everything, and that's fine. But I don't hold a lot of value in these comments. It reminds me of the sideline reporter at halftime or before the game and after the game. Well, actually, after the game is okay, but sideline reporting, sideline halftime stuff where they're asking the coach what happened. I don't get anything out of that. I prefer the sideline reporter to update the audience on injuries and news that's going on the teams. I think that's where the value is. And unfortunately, most of the time, they don't spend that time there. And maybe it's because sometimes the news isn't as abundant and they got to kind of fill in the gaps. But this is one of those things where they're just filling in the gaps.
Okay. So you're just thinking it's just a little bit just the PR smokescreen type deal, or when especially when it comes to LeBron James, or how are you trying to read this?
I'm not really reading it in any way. I'm surprised they gave him an extension. I don't think anybody felt that he needed an extension. He still had 3 years left on his contract. Actually, 4 years, right? He had a 5-year contract, didn't he?
No, he had a 4-year contract.
Okay, so he had 3 years left. I don't know I don't get the, unless they saw something that we didn't see. We'll maybe see. That's probably the least of the problems, or at least of the worry, let's say, on the future. My concern.
Are you thinking this like a golden parachute in that term?
Has JJ earned a golden parachute type thing? Is that something that you want to do now? Maybe let him play out the second year, maybe the third year before you give him an extension. I don't know what the point of giving a guy an extension when he's got 3 years left. So I'm going to give you guys an example. The Steelers will not talk extension with any player on the team other than a quarterback if it isn't a year left on the contract. The only one that has more than that is the quarterback, and he's got 2 years. So to put, and you know how valuable a quarterback is, especially a franchise quarterback is in the NFL. The fact that he's getting an extension and he's just coached 1 year, and we really don't know how good he is. The first year didn't really show much yet. I mean, they went 52-30. They were better than the year before, but that's why you give a guy 4 years. Let him play it out a little bit, and then in the last, when he's got a year left, then think about giving him an extension. I have no idea why they did this, unless they saw something that we haven't seen yet. And that it could be Mark Walter and Guggenheim's are like, we like this guy. We're going to put all our eggs in this basket, and we're going to rock and roll with it. Maybe that's what happened, but we don't know. We won't know until we see this team perform.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching us, and truly appreciate you stopping by. Many of you stopped by and watched the incredibly entertaining, okay, I'm being very facetious when I say that, press conference with Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick. So with that, my friend, what are you taking as far as some of the other comments that were made, as far as what Pelinka was saying on doubling down on the Redick contract extension? He said, confidence and belief. We think he's a special coach with a special voice that's really helping us continue to define the culture of Lakers excellence. We just wanted to make a clear statement that this is what we believe in, what we're going to lean into, and what our players are going to mold into as we continue to develop the identity. I think having long-term planning is helpful as we build this team going forward. Did you fall asleep yet, by the way?
No, actually, I did. Actually, I took a quick nap about an hour ago.
Well, I know, Gregory, that don't mean he can't be fired, but that don't mean if he does get fired. What it does mean is if he does get fired, he is a lot more expensive when he gets fired. That's what it means, Gregory.
Maybe we'll get.
I know you're holding out all hope.
Maybe we'll get news on some of the decision makers in this once the transfer is done. That's the only thing left at this point that I'm waiting on. That's going to happen before the season finishes. So once that transfer is done, that's when all this will start to make maybe a little bit more sense. It's not my money, and I'm in the I don't know stage right now with JJ Redick. And there's a little bit of fear that he might do some things that I think he shouldn't do. However, I'm a nobody. I'm just a guy on the internet talking about the Lakers. They're not going to listen to me. But I am very confident that we're going to find out the results of that, should it happen and when it happens. And that's it. It's about the results. If this thing works out, then it's a good deal. If it doesn't work out, you're going to ask yourself that question. What was the point? Why would you do this? Unless maybe Luka said, I really like JJ Redick. I want him to be my coach for the next 10 years. Maybe that played a factor in. And if that's the case, then I'm with Luka. If Luka's comfortable with his coach, because that goes a long way. Most of these guys don't like their coaches. If you think about the history of a lot of these elite players, the elite players of just, let's say, the last 25 years, you look at how Shaq has treated his coaches, and even Pat Riley. Like, even Pat Riley wasn't immune to it. He would overextend the love to Phil Jackson, but we all know that he messed with Phil too, immaturely. And then you all know Kobe's story with Phil Jackson. You see guys like Carmelo Anthony, you see guys like Anthony Edwards, you see guys like Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. You've seen versions of guys that are good with their coaches and guys that have had issues with their coaches. So you just don't really know how this develops. But if Luka says, I want this guy to be my coach, then I'll roll with Luka. Because Luka is the most important piece of this whole thing right now. Once Mark Walter and the Guggenheims take over, obviously that's going to be a huge boost in terms of being comfortable with who's running the operation. But in terms of the actual difference makers, the guys that actually have a hand in making this work, it's always going to be the players. And then next is going to be the coaching. So if Luka says, I want to play for JJ for the next 10 years, I don't want to have to worry about switching offenses and switching this and switching that and changing things up. I want to focus. I want to have continuity. Let's just start it now. Let's go. Okay. I'll roll with that.
Who has no say for now, Gregory? Because it's not finalized yet. As far as Mark Walter. Okay, Mark Walter. Now I get it. So technically he has no say. Well, I know JJ Redick.
He's a minority owner still now. And
JJ singled him out in that press conference for thanking him for the extension.
So if they thanked Mark Walter, then then Mark Walter had a say. I'm pretty confident that there's been some community decisions here. And I'm pretty confident that Luka was part of that. So if Luka says, I want JJ Redick to be here, Mark Walter and the Guggenheims and obviously Rob and Gene are going to be like, yeah, okay. Well, let's really, really put this down then. That's my impression. That's my analyzation on that. It didn't make sense when I heard he got an extension. But if the future owners and the future of this team in terms of a player says, I'm on board, I'm with it.
I'm assuming he gave his blessing on it, so that's why it happened when it did. So, especially when you're singled out in the thank you from JJ Redick. So, obviously he's aware. Obviously he gave his blessing on it, and it's going forward. So, and thing is with Pelinka earlier this year when he got the extension as well. So, Joe No Ball. We are never touching a title with JJ Redick. Okay, that's an opinion.
Well, if that's the case, if that is what happens, and we're not going to really know until this team is equipped with the Luka group. Right now, it's not Luka's group. Luka needs a second guy on this team that's in his prime, and then build around those two guys. They need at least one more star, unless they're able to get 4 really good players, much like how Oklahoma City has been built. Oklahoma has 1 star and then 4 very, very good players. That's it. And in some cases, you could even say it's only really 3 very good players.
JY says in the comments, I wanted to get to it. Thanks, JY, for your patience. Jeannie isn't going quietly, guys. She's securing Rob and JJ's future, and it's not about championships.
That's not likely the truth. Look, guys, I just said that the Dodgers are going to have, when it's all said and done with penalties and taxes and licenses and out the door expenses, they're going to spend $540 million on this year's team. I don't believe they care too much if they have to eat a $30 million contract. I would be comfortable with understanding that that's the capability of the new people coming in. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. If JJ flames out in year 3, okay, they'll eat. They're not even going to eat $30 million. They're going to eat the year 4 and 5. I don't really think it's going to debilitate them. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
JY also asked, is JJ another Dave Roberts coach that does
No. I wouldn't put that on. I wouldn't put that on JJ at the moment. I don't think that's fair. We have to see what JJ does with the team that's set for Luka Doncic, and we're probably not going to know that until after the season, possibly in 2 more seasons. I don't know. It just depends on how the acquisitions come about between now and 2027.
Jono Ball says JJ also loves Reeves and never wants to trade him. If I'm afraid they will extend Reeves for $40 to $45 million a year. JJ said Reeves is the best player in the gym, which one of the comments he said today, when I alluded to earlier about how they were so pleased with the work he's put in. Every day he's been in the gym, Redick said, he's been the best player in the gym. His body is really good right now. He's really strong. His burst, his athleticism. It's evident that he spent a lot of time working on his body this summer. I still can't get the munching on that popcorn, Sean. I'm sorry. I'm dwelling on it, I know, but it just, every time I read that, I'm just like still seeing him sitting there on the front row right there on the floor. Just popping that.
Why is that funny?
Popcorn. To me, it's funny because, again, it's working on his body this summer.
So what's wrong with taking a break and eating popcorn?
Because it's not exactly working on your body during the summer.
So if he's working for 6 hours a day and he goes and sits and has some popcorn, is that bad?
You tell me.
I'm asking you. Why do you think it's bad?
I'm asking you back. I'm answering questions.
That's not how it works. You're supposed to answer the question I asked you.
Popcorn's not good for you, man. It's just that simple.
Maybe he didn't have butter on it.
They come usually pre-buttered there. No, you know what? No, actually, they don't. You're right. They don't. This was. They're just salted. So, okay.
Salt is good, especially when you sweat a lot during the day. There's a 0.5% chance that the Lakers are going to give Reeves $40 to $45 million. There's a slight chance they could give him 30 to 35 for the right circumstances, which I still think is a bad deal. I don't feel they should pay him more than 25 at worst, but he's a $20 million player to me. You got to let the market dictate the payment there. So if I'm ownership, I'm letting Reeves test the market. If he comes back and says somebody's going to give me $100 million for 4 years, okay, I'd have to see how the roster construction's going to be set up at that point, which we don't know at this moment, to decide on whether that's something that needs to get done. If he comes back and says somebody offered me $20 million for 4 years, then match it. We'll match it.
Uh-huh.
And if he's getting that offer from a no state tax team in Florida, in Tennessee, which I don't know. I don't know if Memphis is going to have that kind of money, anyways, or a Texas team or a Portland team. Not likely, maybe Portland. I don't know, but then you can give him a couple $1 million to cover that, and then we'll say, okay, let's keep that ball rolling. But I can't justify paying him more than that. You can't pay someone $40 million a year who can't play when it matters. That's just not.
I don't want to pay him more than what Chicago paid Giddey at $25 million a year. To be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I just don't. You can't pay him that money. Otherwise, you're putting yourself in a position where the comparison I used was you're paying a very good quarterback, elite quarterback money. And when you do that, you don't win. Dak Prescott doesn't win in Dallas. Kirk Cousins doesn't win in Minnesota. He didn't win in Washington. He didn't win in Atlanta. Geno Smith, to some degree, got some, close to max money. He's not winning in Las Vegas. He wasn't winning in Seattle. When I say not winning, you're not winning titles. You can win games, but you're not going to win the big prize. And that's the problem with having very good players or good players that are making too much money.
Yeah, at the time, it's several Lakers were eating popcorn. LeBron was to the other side but most of the players that were there watching Summer League, the regular Lakers in that on the roster, they were there right in front altogether, except for LeBron. But that's just something right there for you. But again, the press conference had its news and notes on that, as far as, of course, JJ Redick, LeBron. Talked a little about Austin because of what might take place with Austin. Redick on an off-season point, Joe, of emphasis for the whole team. We've asked all of our guys to be in championship shape. The commitment level has been very high this summer. He used that term on the way out after the season-ending loss against Minnesota. And a lot of people were directing that towards Luka, and Luka took it to heart. And worked very hard, and you've seen the results of that in EuroLeague and what he's done since. He looks like he's in fantastic shape heading into training camp next week. Your thoughts on the commitment to this team to get into championship shape?
LeBron will be in shape. Luka's in shape. Austin Reeves is in shape. Rui is in shape. DeAndre Ayton is in shape. Yeah. I think everyone's going to be basketball ready and in shape. And I don't want to put too much credit in that. That's your job. This is NBA basketball. It is ridiculously difficult to play in the NBA. It is extremely hard. Not because I know. It's just, think about it for a second. You got guys that are 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", who jump out the building, who run like deer, who jump out, who jump like bobcats. These guys are so free. And then, of course, if they're not freakishly athletic, they're huge. You are dealing with walls and fast-acting cats. It's the only comparison I can think of. They're just fast felines. And being in shape is absolutely number one in a lot of cases, so that your body can deal with the rigors of an NBA season. You got to add skill then after that. Then you got to add availability to that. Then you got to add to, are you going to be able to shoot with when you're open, when you're not open, when you've got a taller player, when you got a shorter player, when you got someone who's a better defender versus someone who's not yet. Can you get to the basket over a 7-footer? It's a lot of stuff. It is a lot of stuff in an NBA game, and being in shape is imperative, and that's just the first step. If you're not doing yourself any favors and being putting yourself and your team in the right position to win. So good for them. They're ready to play health-wise. We know that Luka is based off his look and also the fact that he played in the Eurobasket tournament. That's really good. However, we remember when Austin Reeves played one summer, he struggled pretty much the entire first half. So that sometimes doesn't work for certain people. Luka, I don't think it's going to matter because Luka's one of the elite players. But we have to see how this team plays together. That's going to be the first test.
But yeah, before you get excited about Walker Kessler again, because I know he's at a contract extension impasse right now, and that this most likely will, at this point, although it could change because they still have, I believe, the possibility that they might want, lock him into a deal. He will head into restricted free agency, and as we've seen with Jonathan Kuminga, we've seen with Josh Giddey this summer, that can drag itself out, or he can also get a commitment like Giddey did at 4 years, $100 million. So yeah, I would, before you get all excited about Kessler, understand that his rights are still being retained by the Jazz, and that'll be a discussion that they have going forward. Let's see how that plays out first before that happens. So, and whereas right now he's really hard to trade for a lot of teams because he has such a small salary because he's on a rookie contract right now. So that's the hard part right now when you trade for Kessler, because you can't trade. It's very hard to trade for someone of equal value from him because there's just not that many players that are $3 or $4 million right now that have that kind of capability that he does. Joe said, I would trade Reeves and some. See, again, you can't, with the salary cap the way it is. It just doesn't work like that. And the Lakers only have one first-round draft pick to trade right now. So I think, again, Utah's asking price for him will be a little bit stronger than that. So, and they would have to package up more Utah Jazz players just to build up the price. So, yeah, it's not really a tit for tat type deal, unfortunately. So unless those rumors get a lot hotter, I would say just slow down on Kessler. But it would be nice. I good player, very defensive stalwart, guy who can get you a double and also anywhere from 2 to 5 blocks a game. Yeah, would love that Manning in the middle. Would really have that nice. Plus a lob threat. Yeah, absolutely. He would play awesome alongside Luka. But yeah, I want to see that take place first before that happens. Plus, yeah. He said Reeves. Did you say Danny Ainge said? He said Reeves, and no, he did not say Reeves. You can't talk about other players if you're an executive on another team. You can't do that. That's actually, if he said that in public, you can't. Say that. Now, if it's a rumor or anything like that, yeah, it's just the money just doesn't work out in Joe Paul. You would have to think about other players. You have to package on in that, and the Lakers have a salary cap issue because they're against the salary cap. You have to think about that before you say that. So yeah, that's you saw it on Twitter. Oh, Joe, he saw it on Twitter. He saw it on Twitter. Yeah, there you go.
I doubt Danny would make that public.
Yeah, you can't. You cannot talk about another.
It's illegal. It's not. It's against the rules, and
you can't.
You can't. And I doubt that's all he wanted.
Yeah. And remember, it's the son. Ainge is the president, and Ainge, son Ainge is the GM, the day-to-day GM. So, just remember that as well. So, but careful what you watch on read on Twitter. But that's what I'm going to do because I'm reading from Mike Trudell on Twitter. So the other thing I wanted to mention was JJ Redick, because on Twitter, on Mike Trudell's Twitter, who is the Lakers reporter, he said he and LeBron talk frequently. and had 2 great in-person meetings this summer, including a dinner in the Hamptons there, Joe. He's in a great spot mentally, JJ said, and I know he's going to give us his absolute best. To do the famous Joe. There you go.
Gonna give his best. What's next? Pat on the backs. Barry Horowitz, pat on the backs.
Yes. Yes.
Still too much. Still too much talking.
Gregory said, was that rumor from Anthony Irwin? Okay, because he's like Laker Tom. He just throws stuff out there. If Joe and I threw out 300 mock trades, one of them might come true.
Yeah, it's like saying, "Oh, this guy's gonna fail. This guy's gonna fail. This guy's gonna fail." Then after 3 years of winning, he finally fails, right? See, I told you. Yeah, because you just kept saying the same thing year in year out. At some point, somebody's gonna fail. The inability to articulate or assess what's going on and having to rely on clickbait and it works. That's why it's done. The dumbskis out there are attracted to it like flies on you know what. So I get it, but at the same time, it's fake news. It's fake crap. Is that really what entertains you? Oh, LeBron is going to try real hard. Oh, well, that's nice. That's nice that he's going to try. Oh, they're in shape? Oh, that's great. Congratulations. You're a professional athlete who's in shape. Oh, I take care of my family. Yeah, you're supposed to. What I want to be amazed by, and this is what I'm used to, is I'm used to seeing greatness play on a high ankle sprain on the second night of a back-to-back. I'm seeing someone who broke their index finger on their shooting hand and have it wrapped up and still win 2 championships from it. And for all those closed-minded morons who don't see those things and understand, well, why is his shooting off? Could it be maybe that his shooting finger, the last release on that is hampered for forever? Or do you just sit there and just imagine things in your head because you want to? Without going into a philosophical spiel here, because sports is a microcosm of society. Much like things in society, sports will adopt it because that's just how people talk and how people think. But I'm gonna give you a perspective on my end. I don't care about what LeBron James does, or Luka, or Reeves, or Pelinka, or Genie away from basketball. That includes their regiments. I'm not going to get Muscle Magazine and read how they're working out. I'm not going to watch their stuff on YouTube. Not doing any of that. I am watching LeBron James and the Lakers for the 82 games and the preseason games and the playoffs. All I want to hear is they're ready to play those games. And that's it. That's all that matters. Everything else is just filling in the blanks of shit. Oh, LeBron will have a choice of retiring a Laker. Well, that's very nice of him. That's very nice of him. Did I forget the rules that he plays for a contract and the contract runs out at the end of the year and he wasn't given an extension? What is this talk about? Oh, we're hoping he retires a Laker. Okay. Well, didn't you already kind of figure that out by now? So it's sad too, because you could say it. If you are truly transparent and truly not full of shit like most people are, you can say the things that need to be said without being insulting. There's plenty of guys that were like that in our lifetime in documentaries like a Vince Lombardi or a Paul Brown, like those type of leaders, great coaches, great managers, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And to me, if I'm a general manager of a team and someone is asking me about LeBron's retirement, I'm not going to say we're hoping he retires a Laker and we're going to do everything we can. No, I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is LeBron James is the person you want to ask that question to. He can decide when he wants to retire. As of right now, he is with us contractually until the end of the year. And we'll make a decision at the end of next year if there is an understanding on both parties that we are going to continue with him as a Laker. You're not insulting LeBron there. You're not insulting his people. You're not insulting his family. You're not giving the media and the audience any BS. Why don't you talk like that? Why don't you just say the truth? Say simple truth instead of the lawyer talk or the PC version or whatever. And these are the things that they don't get to me, but it turns off. My attention span turns off. It just turns off when I hear euphemisms. George Carlin had stand-ups the last 15 years of his life that talked about trick sentences, trick words, euphemisms. And he went through the line. I mean, he was a genius when he would compare something to someone is handicapped, but now you can't say they're handicapped. They're physically challenged. It's like everything's about not hurting somebody or insulting somebody. You're going to tiptoe your whole life doing that if you're constantly worried about someone misinterpreting what you're saying. At some point, common sense needs to come in there and say, all I said was what the situation is. If you took that as an insult, I can't do anything for you. You'll have more respect, more people respecting you when you go that route instead of catering to the one or two dumb shits that actually get bothered by stuff like that.
So I just wanted to ask you this, and once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. The last comment that was made that I want to note on this press conference, Joe, was JJ Redick himself, when talking, said there are 7 or 8 starter level players on the roster, but he hasn't spent much time thinking about the group that will start the season, noting how many different lineups, well over 20, started last season. I don't think that's the case. We talked about before how these coaches earlier in the month of September always get together for like a coaching summit, where they plan out exactly some of the things they want to accomplish. They already have early play designs, designs on what rotations they might be looking at, things of that nature that they're already. You cannot tell me he doesn't have something already in mind and just wants to play it by ear. Everything's so. We'll go ahead and see how it looks in training camp. Your training camp in the NBA, Joe, is not long enough to not go in there already prepared. They're not the 3 or 4 weeks of mini camp like in the NFL. They're not the how long? Spring training? Almost a month for spring training, Joe. It's not like that. You only get a few days before, boom, you're in exhibition season already when it comes to the NBA training camp. I mean, in some cases, like here, in about a matter of hours, some teams are already going to be flying overseas to play their first exhibition game. So, I just don't understand it. When he says stuff like that, it's just like, are we supposed to be believing it? And where is this 8th guy that's supposedly a starter level player on the Lakers? If you squint hard, would that be Jared Vanderbilt? I'm squinting.
So let's look at the 7. He said 7 or 8 starting players.
7 or 8 was the exact quote.
Well, there's a good chance that there'll be 8 players that start at some point during the year, so there's some truth to that. Whether they're quality starters, no.
He said starter level.
Starter level is too loose. I'd like to know, are they starting on most of the teams in the NBA? The answer is no. There's really only 5, maybe 6 legitimate starters on this team. I'm putting the 6th guy as Marcus Smart if he's healthy. So they already have the 5 in DeAndre Ayton, Rui, Austin, LeBron, and Luka. And then you have Marcus Smart, who, if healthy, is a starter. He has the skills to be a starter. But LaRavia isn't a starter in the NBA, not in a consistent way, at least not right now. Jared Vanderbilt could start, but he's not really of quality throughout an entire year. He can't stay healthy, and he's too deficient in too many areas. Jackson Hayes isn't a legitimate starter. Dalton Connect is not a starter. Gabe Vincent isn't really a starter, is he? He can start, but he's not really a consistent one. Kleber is not a starter. So who's he talking about?
Best league, much love, but no, don't start with Gabe. Gabe is not a. I don't know which Gabe you've been watching the past couple seasons. Entirely hurt for almost the entire season. His first season, last season was a great disappointment. I would not put him at a starter level. I mean, he might have to start because of injury or illness or something like that. But yeah, a starter level player, Joe, Gabe Vincent is not.
No, he's barely an NBA player at this point. If you're not available, you're just as useful as we are. When you don't play as much as he's not played, you're no different than us. Just it's the reality of it. We're talking about results, right? If you're not on the court playing, then you're just as good as we are. We're not on the court playing. You're not on the court playing. We're doing the same thing.
Do you think he meant Bronny? Because Jono Ball said maybe he was talking about Bronny to placate maybe certain individual.
That is the ultimate test for the JJ Redick career at this point. If I see Bronny James playing consistent basketball and he's not coming through, I don't see how that's going to work. It's not something you can just watch and let develop. If he's going to get torched, there's not going to be a choice. You're going to have to take him out when he's not performing. So that's it. There's no. I don't see how that's. I just don't see how that's going to work. And if he stays stubborn with it, which is something I'm a little worried about, then it's going to come out in a lot of these games. And these games will be losses more than wins.
Jono Ball says Bronny will be playing a lot more in year 2, and this is why extending JJ was a problem. Well, Joe, I think you said it best earlier this summer when you said if Bronny gets a lot more extended playing time, which I had said that if the bench continues to struggle similar to what it did last year, he's going to be trying everyone, whether we like it or not, at some point in time during an 82-game season. You say that amounts to a whole lot of trouble for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh, yeah, because that was the worry. The worry is, are you running a championship title contending team, or are you trying to appease people?
Okay.
So let's talk about an example. Rick Fox in 2000, he was married to Vanessa Williams, and he was the baby was due right around during playoff time, and he had to go to New York and be with Vanessa to usher in their child, right? And Phil Jackson obviously accommodated that. He knows it's an important thing. But even in the interview when they're talking to him, you could tell Phil was like, get your ass back as soon as the kid is delivered. Now, in today's, let's go forward 25 years in the future. If that report had come out in 2020 or 2025, Phil Jackson would have never heard the end of it. Oh my God, what kind of insensitive, what this guy is. He doesn't care about family, blah, 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 blah. But back then, it wasn't looked on that way. It was like, look, you have a job to do. You get paid a lot of money to do this. We need to win this. I'm of that time. Okay. We know this is an important part of life to go see your kid be delivered. Great. But get your ass back here now, as soon as it's over. I can't. When I hear that a dad, and I'm a dad, right? When I hear a dad is on, what do they call it? Is it maternity leave? But it's for the guy. What do they say? Paternity. I'm sorry, but my first reaction to that is not a good one. It sounds very beta to me.
Well, if the mother or child is in a bad condition or a bad way,
that's completely different. That's 100. I'm not talking about the health of a child. I'm not talking. That's a completely different
I know what
beast.
you're talking about. I wanted to make sure you clarify.
But when I heard that, I'm on paternity leave, I'm like, what? Before I knew what that was, I go, paternity? You mean maternity leave? No, paternity for men. I go, what? Why do you need the paternity leave? Like, you don't have the breast. You're not feeding the kid. Like, what? Like, what is it? Well, to be together with the baby. The babies are sleeping 17 hours during the day. What are you doing? Just sitting there, slapping your ham? You're like, I've had 2 kids. I know that business. And I come off from an older time where I just think that's kind of, weird. It's like, you can still see your kid, hang out with your kid, handle business for 2 or 3 hours, and then you can see your kid sleeping for the next 16 hours. Like, it never made that never will make sense to me. So with that, it's to get back to the point of this, I don't. My instincts have carried me in every positive thing in my life. And my instincts are telling me right now that there's going to be some dumb shit that's going to come during the year. And the biggest one is this Bronny fucking James thing.
I'm telling you, Joe, he's going to try it.
If he's in the rotation, you are going to see.
I'm just saying, because of injury or illness or something, or maybe he just wants to try something different. He's going to do it. He's going to do it, Joe.
If he's part of the rotation, this team is sunk. What did Shaq say? Write it down, take a picture. I don't care. And it's those things that make it very hard to have a future or a bright future for the continuous career of LeBron James. Because we've already discussed the process of all this from a year ago, a year and 4 months, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, whatever it was. It doesn't matter if Bronny James turned into a superstar. In that moment, when they were in a position to draft a player, they could have had Bronny James without drafting him at 55. You could have drafted someone else that may have helped you, added depth. What did this team struggle with last year? Not enough quality players. You're not usually going to get quality players at 55, but who's to say that you wouldn't have gotten something? Because it has happened, right? You have a better chance at having a shot at it versus completely cutting your head off before you even give it a shot. You could have had Bronny James as a free agent and drafted another player that may have helped you or would help you later. And that to me is decision-making of inadequacy. It's to cater to the story. Putting in Bronny in the rotation is about the story. It's not about the talent. This isn't a reality show in the terms of made-up reality. It is reality because it's as sports is as reality as it gets. It's real, right? These guys are real athletes playing a real game and real rules. It's not fake, right? So it's not scripted, I should say, reality show. But they're turning it into a scripted reality show, and that's the part that I don't like. That's why I'm hesitant in going all the way in on JJ Redick.
I got to wait and see. I've already told you that. Again, he had his highs and lows, decisions that some of them were good. Obviously, a great motivator for the team. But there were points during the season where he clearly got outcoached in the second half game, which is to be expected for a rookie head coach. It just happens. You put him up against guys that have been doing this for 10, 15 years, and some days they're going to take him to lunch. But you learn from that and adapt. And obviously, the fact that they won 50 games in his first season, that's a sign that they have some confidence that he can win games. Now, there also the 4-1 series loss has to be a learning lesson, and he cannot do that again, because if he has another 1-game win in the playoffs and out, first round and out type scenario, that won't bode well when Mark Walter takes over. But again, Mark Walter had to probably had said, I give my blessing on extension for JJ Redick.
Hopefully we'll find out who greenlit this really. But I have a good feeling that it's probably Luka. Luka probably said, let's have some, let's stop firing coaches. And maybe the Lakers said, let's stop firing the coaches every 2 years. Let's really, really commit to somebody.
Have stability.
But JJ cannot put players in that are not capable of playing.
Johnny, your fascination.
And I feel comfortable in saying that the execution will dictate it. If you want to play that game is going to backfire on you, and then you're going to have to finally set it aside and say, we can't do this anymore. I don't trust. I trust the trust factor with the Lakers. See, this is something that's the word I think ultimately that probably identifies the Laker team the last 4 years. I don't trust the people who make the decisions. They got this Luka trade done. Great. That's great. It's a big piece. They were able to get Anthony Davis. They got LeBron James to come. Great. They pay attention to the slug. They don't pay attention to the small ball. And the current construction of the CBA says you have to now pay attention to small ball because you can't go get stars like you used to. We're not going to allow you to. So these guys have to learn how to start playing the game of basketball like the National League used to play. When a guy was on first, what would they do? They'd bunt the ball to get him to second so that they can hit a base hit and get that guy at home. They're going to have to play some small ball, and they have not been good at playing small ball. They have not been good at getting a Trevor Ariza or a Ron Artest, a missing piece of a glue, a missing piece that you can glue in there that fits seamlessly. It's always either a big player or they butcher the people around them with a couple of things that fall in their lap, good free agent pickups like a Caruso, like a Reeves. But then what good is that if you don't have them still? Like all the stuff they did with Caruso, all that investing, all that time they spent, he's not here anymore, so it doesn't matter. Rui could be one of their best pickups in terms of a piece. Sure. But you still need that second star with Luka, in my view. Because I don't think they're going to have draft picks where they're going to be drafting, where they're going to be able to pick the Jalen Williams of the world and Chet Holmgrens of the world. They're just not going to be able to get guys like that. They could, but it's not likely. It's difficult. You have to get lucky.
Jonah Wall says, how many second options are better than LeBron right now? According to ESPN, which has him ranked 8th overall in the top 100 players in the NBA, there are none. Although I'm sure Oklahoma City would say Jalen Williams, et cetera, et cetera. So, but yeah, obviously he's one of the best still players on the planet. So, can that be said on the Lakers when LeBron is gone? The winning time was last season and now. Well, yes, there is hopefully a sense of winning for this team, but I don't know. Is this team deep enough? Is this team talented enough around Luka and LeBron to get that done? We'll have to wait and see. They're not predicted, even with the injury to Fred VanVleet in Houston, to be a team that's considered top 3 in the West. They're right there on the cusp of it. So we will definitely see if that's the case. I think they have a chance to sneak into, a top 3 position, especially now with that injury to Fred VanVleet. But we'll see how it plays itself out, Joe. And another thing that was brought up today by Yahoo Sports that was interesting, because if that investigation on Kawhi gets really serious, Joe, which it may play out over the series of months, somebody on Yahoo Sports, I forgot who it was. Wasn't Dan Devine. It was somebody else on Yahoo Sports that made a good point. If I was the Clippers front office, Joe, I'd be trading all my eligible first round picks right now for anything. I know they talked about Zion Williamson as being something, but anything, because, if they have to get, fined for those 5 first round draft picks, put it to those 5 first round draft picks you don't even have possession yet you can use yet, Joe. That was really outside the box thinking. And I think that if the Clippers truly think they're guilty or believe they're guilty or might believe that they think that they're going to be found guilty, getting rid of your assets or getting rid of your draft pick assets now is kind of a smart move.
No, because I think the NBA would reject it. They know what they're trying to do.
How can they? How can they? What grounds
Silver
would they have
would
now?
veto the trades. That's not. Come on.
So you're preventing a team right now that
there's no way Adam Silver is not going to see any brain activity. Brain is not going to not see that. If I'm a commissioner and I'm seeing the Clippers trade 3 first round picks for a player, Zion, I don't give a shit who it is. I already know what you guys are doing.
Okay.
If you want to do that, all right, look, here. All right, you want to do that? Okay. Kawhi Leonard, his contract is null and void. Or Kawhi Leonard's suspended indefinitely until this matter is cleared without pay.
But you're just expecting that team to be in limbo. I'm not defending the Clippers. I'm just
it's a discussion of common sense at this point. If you're going to try to unload all your draft picks, that's an admission of guilt in my view. Something's coming.
I agree with you on that, but I'm just saying, what real grounds does Adam Silver have a leg on? If you're getting a star
what grounds did David Stern have to stop the Chris Paul trade? It's called being a commissioner. What grounds did Adam Silver have in ousting Donald Sterling?
They don't have enough first, Johnny. Lakers don't have enough first for Zion.
You can't. They should have bought Zion last year where it was low. Now, if he's in shape, he's going to ball.
Which he said he is in recent days at Media Day for them.
Yeah, he's probably sitting at about 240.
Yeah,
which is
he's
what
looked
something
at.
which is
Yeah, he's
something
looked
we
over
were
his shoulder.
saying, which is something we were saying a few years back. If this guy can get down to 240 and start looking like Charles Barkley did when he was balling, then he's going to be a problem. Imagine that. The guy's averaging almost 25 points a game and wasn't even in shape for 6 years. Now that he's in shape, he is he's going to have the opportunity to really, really shine.
Tough. Yeah, thank you for watching the interview with Land, Robert Land, from Houston Sports Talk. It was a great conversation with him, and they are deeply talented in Houston. There's a reason why they're or up until the Fred VanVleet's injury, they were by many places picked as the number 2 team in the Western Conference because they had a deep, athletic, young, in the right places roster. But their youth now has to develop more quickly, especially the fact that if you're going to give Amen Thompson and Reed Shepherd the ball a lot more often, those two have to pop as players. And Amen Thompson's great on the defensive end, one of the best defensive players already in the league. Can he make that leap as a playmaker if you're going to give him the ball? And then also Reed Shepherd, who you didn't trust enough for most of the season last season. You now have to trust him a lot more because you can't trade anybody until December 15th, really. They don't have really many assets that they can utilize until the 15th of December. And they're like the Lakers, they are right up against that second tax apron. So they can't even sign anybody off the street right now. So with that said, yeah, they have to rely heavily on their young players. And those 2 players have to pop. If they do, it's going to be a great season for them. If not, might have to wait until next season for them. But yeah, I'm just glad, Joe, because I'm hearing a lot. McCain just popped his thumb, and they're seeing if he might need surgery on his thumb. I feel sorry. That kid, second year in a row, he gets a major injury like that, and that's sad. And all these players are getting hurt just before training camp. These are like in these mini camps before the training camp. Like, remember we were talking a lot. Is the LeBron camp going on around you? Do you know?
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be in San Diego. I'll be in San Diego next week.
Okay.
So
I heard there is a camp from another NBA team in San Diego going.
Yeah, I haven't heard LeBron's camp in San Diego this year.
Okay.
No, I haven't heard anything.
Okay. All right. Well, they'll be in regular training camp, or at least media day, in 5 days. So that'll be interesting to see. But for today, it was JJ and Rob. I don't know if it got your spirits going up or down, depending on what side you lean on. But I know that right now that JJ's in for a little bit more as far as his number of years, and Rob talked about wanting to bring back LeBron after this year as well. So we'll find out what happens. But yeah, great. Jared McCain, tough. Philadelphia. He was the leading rookie of last year until he got injured, I think with a knee injury, if I remember correctly, that sidelined him like in January or so. And then they just reported he hurt his thumb in a mini camp, I think yesterday or whatnot. And then we've heard Fred VanVleet tore his ACL in a mini camp in Puerto Rico, if I remember correctly. Yeah, over the weekend as well. So yeah, these mini camps are pretty rough, Joe. They're not even a training camp, and they're already getting hurt.
Bad diets. I don't know. Something.
Besley says Lakers fast break. Gerald, after DFS, our best player next to Luka was Gabe last season. I don't know best. I don't know what planet you're on, man, because that is nowhere even close to being correct. I wish you all the best, and I am still weeding through your article, getting ever so closer. But yeah, Gabe Vincent, Joe, I don't think Gabe Vincent. I mean, if he did so good, best, how come he wasn't utilized by the Lakers in that famous game where the Lakers played all their starters in the second half, Joe?
Gabe Vincent is a dud. Kleber is a dud. Connect is starting to turn into a dud. Bronny James is a dud. I don't have any feeling on those guys right now. Focus on the players that can actually make things happen consistently and throughout the year, and try and add a piece if you can by the deadline.
6 points a game, 35% from 3 last season. 1 assist, 1 rebound.
My guys at Lakers ball, it's one of my guys, LT, is always the positive B in there. Positive is nice. It's healthy to be that way. But for me, being healthy for me is seeing what's going on and identifying it.
Best League, DFS is no longer on this team. I don't even know why you're worrying about it. He played well at times. He played bad at times. He was a 10-point-a-game player. That's who he is. That's who he was. That's who he has been throughout the league. He tantalizes you with some pretty good defense at times and a pretty good percentage from 3. It can play make a little bit, but he never just puts it all together to be that complete player that I think people wanted to be, that I wanted him to be. But yeah, he's a good rotation player, and he'll be a good rotation player for Houston this season. But I don't saying he was the second best player behind Luka. I don't think that's his impact does not show in stats like DFS. Oh, we're talking about Gabe Vincent. I got a headache.
Yeah, I think it's time to shut down for the night.
I think you guys are crazy.
If Gabe Vincent isn't a dud, then who is? Seriously. Are you guys just saying that just to be opposite, just to play contrarian? Fine, but come on.
Guys are absolutely crazy. Man. I mean, you guys feel free to say in the comments like that if you want and believe it, but yeah, you cannot convince me otherwise on that. That's
corny. That's the word, the perfect word to describe Rob and Jeannie and all the people that are there. They're very corny. They're very mundane. I don't look at them as powers of industry with determination. They're not that kind of people. They don't move you. You know, back in the day when you saw Jerry West and you saw Phil or you Pat Riley like in these positions, you're like, yeah, that's, look at Jerry Buss. You know, these are guys that are, Jerry Buss is a genius, and Jerry West is a basketball genius, and Phil Jackson is a psychological genius. And then you had these guys that were grown men who were absolutely great at what they did. And then now you have this. And it's just like, eh.
You asked us who the better player was between Luka and SGA. I said Luka. It's close, very close. It's razor thin, but I'm going to go with Luka. Joe, he would probably say Luka as well. I don't want to speak for him, but Luka and SGA, who's the better player? In your opinion?
They play different game. They play a different game, but I think Luka's more valuable than SGA in the end. Johnny, it's not just that the generation is soft. See, guys that were old timers in the 80s thought that the people in the 80s were soft, and so on and so on. Every generation thinks, every older generation thinks the current generation is soft.
Back in my day, etc.
Back in my day, we used to walk in snow for 14 miles to get to school. All that BS, right? So I try not to put a blanket on everyone. I attack specific people. If it just so happens that most of the people are like that, then it's going to look like that. but at least I have something to fall back on. I can go back and say, I watched Kobe Bryant play. I saw it in their primes and watched the games day in and day out. I saw Michael Jordan play. You've seen these guys. This is recent history. This isn't from 50 years ago, right? I'm used to guys showing up and playing, not missing 60 games. That's bad in any era. You're soft. You're soft. We've softened things because it's we hang up there's something mental going on, and we don't want to make it worse. Well, you don't harden your desires that way. You weaken it more when you're always being, that's okay, it's not your fault. It's okay, it's not your fault. Oh, it's because this happened when you were growing up and all these things, which is how excuses start to build.
I'll just say this, Joe. Let me just say this back to what we were talking about earlier when Besley got put up there about Gabe and DFS and all that. How many times have I said over the summer that the Lakers finished with one of the absolute worst benches in the NBA? One of the absolute worst. And who was coming off that bench? DFS and Gabe Vincent. Cannot tell me that those guys were the best players behind Luka when you have statistically one of the worst benches in the league. It's just that simple.
And that's when it's mind-boggling. Why are we going to all of a sudden believe that you have viable players and all you did was switch LaRavia for DFS? Everything else is the same. And LaRavia is statistically the second worst defender in the league, according to defensive ratings. I might be wrong on that, but it wasn't good. I might be wrong on him being the second worst, but I know that his numbers were not good when I saw him a few months back. I'd have to go look again. What changed? What changes? These guys are all now. Is Jackson Hayes now going to be able to play in the playoffs and be productive on defense? Maybe on offense a little bit? Probably not. Is LaRavia all of a sudden going to be Gary Payton light? Maybe a third of Gary Payton? Is he going to start shooting 45% from three? Not likely. Is Dalton Knecht going to get out of his funk? Hopefully. I don't know. Is Gabe Vincent and Kleber going to say, we're going into our last year. Let's really play hard and try to make something work?
Let's be on the floor, first off.
Yeah. Be on the floor first, but they haven't been able to do that. I don't trust inconsistency. Sorry. I don't trust inconsistency until I see consistency. So I'm gonna go pick on LeBron now. LeBron has played for 23 years. That's great. Good for him. What does that have to do with 2026, 2027? I'm sorry, 2025, 2026. What LeBron did 4 years ago have to do with this coming year? Nothing. LeBron needs to be available and needs to stop making mistakes at the end of games. And the reason why he's likely making mistakes at the end of games is because he's tired and he's long in the tooth. One of the first things my dad told me when he was a semi-pro soccer player, he said, when you start getting older and you start dwindling down, weird things start to happen. You start to not react quick enough. You start falling over yourself. Your foot gets stuck on your other foot while you're running. You're like, what the hell? Did somebody just trip me? No, you tripped over yourself. That's what keeps happening to LeBron James at the end of games. He's tired. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. He gets so tired, he's so spent that he's making these mental mistakes that are detrimental to the team. So therefore, if you're going to say that LeBron is going to be the second best player on this team, you're probably right. But it can't be at the expense of 38 minutes a game or even 36 minutes a game. He has to play 30 to 32 minutes a game. Otherwise, you're going to have these same problems towards the end of the year.
And on that note, my friend, it's good conversation today. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Joe, make sure you go ahead and check out his channel, the Joe Sorrell Experiment. I don't know how we're comparing Austin. Again, we do want Austin, we feel, would be the best. We both said this as a sixth man coming off the bench, but compared to last season when you had not a whole lot on that bench, Austin averaging 25-5, despite his mighty struggles on the defensive end. You know, you just don't have many options last season, and now there's at least a couple more with Marcus Smart, who hopefully will stay on the court, and Jake LaRavia, who will hopefully continue his progression after a really good season last season. So we'll see how it goes, buddy. I think the Jake LaRavia at $6 million a year, I think that is a pretty good.
That's a good number.
Contract.
Yeah, that's a good.
Like
that's a good investment on possibly someone that might ascend. Yeah, that's a good investment on that, and it covers the Dalton Connect fiasco too. If Dalton Connect can't get himself together, you may have a replacement there, and it's a pretty good bargain. However,
yes,
it's going to be it's going to be dictated by how the main horses play.
Yeah. Hey Trayvon, how you doing, my friend? Great to have you here. All the stats I see, Jake was a decent defender. Yeah, I mean, if that's what we can get from him, that'd be awesome. And it's around 40% shooting, like he did last season, that would be great. That would help again, one of the worst benches in the league. You cannot get around that. One of the least productive benches in the league. No matter what statistics you throw out at me, it doesn't work. It doesn't work best. It does not work. You cannot avoid the fact that the Lakers had one of the worst and least productive benches in the league last season. The stats are right there. The proof was right there. When you watch the games, Joe, they were right there. It's like we saw all these games on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, Joe. We saw exactly how inept that bench was at times, and they were providing the Lakers no relief at all. And now, they do have an opportunity. Like, it would have been nice to have kept DFS, but he decided to go to Houston. But instead, we've got two players that hopefully will contribute. But as far as 8 starter level players, we'll see where that 8th starter level player is. I just don't see it as of yet.
Either. So
what's up, Trojan?
Defense is about want. And are players going to want to play defense game in and game out for an entire NBA season and playoffs? It's a rarity, especially in today's NBA. So I'm not going to expect it.
But I do think there will be a better productivity coming from the bench this season. Whether or not it will be enough to give LeBron in his age 41 year enough rest so that he'll have a little bit more juice going to the playoffs, and Luka not feeling or having to do everything and have to carry his team on his back, as what many people are thinking might have to happen in a year that he is one of the favorites for the MVP. There you go. But yeah, JY says Lakers got the worst bench in the league because they have 2 bench players starting, AR and Rui. Joji, that's part of it. You don't have options. Yeah, you just don't have options.
That's a good point.
Yeah, good point.
Rui and Austin would be better on as 6 and 7 guys on a championship team. Yes, I agree.
Which
only adds more credibility to the fact that you cannot pay Austin Reeves and Rui above $20 to $25 million a year.
Yeah, because it's how you perceive them.
Otherwise, you're handicapping the team. If you do pay him that much, if you do pay him $30 to $35 million a year, you better be willing to pay the luxury tax, and you have the second star on the team. Then at that point, hey, it's your money. If you guys want to do all that, that's fine. And if you think that this is going to be the team for the next 5 to 6 years and you're going to go all in on it, okay, I'll roll with that. But you have to get the second guy first before you can, in my view, understand how you're going to get these 2 guys. What I do believe is going to happen is one of those guys is staying. Rui or Austin are staying at the end of the year. I don't believe both will stay. Something extraordinary would have to happen for both to stay.
Tough was asking, where is it? Is there any way that Ayton can stir these guys up to play some good team D? First of all, he has to stir himself up tough, because he has burned 2 bridges already because of his malcontentment, his attitude, his just awareness of the moment per se in both Phoenix and Portland. He has a lot of money riding on the line this year, Joe. He has to be first motivated to play great team D himself. Maybe that in turn will allow the Lakers to do the same. And I mentioned to you last night, if the Lakers have Marcus Smart coming off the bench and the Lakers use that familiar starting lineup that we talked about, plus DeAndre Ayton, they have, and they end up being a top 5 offensive team. If they're 15, 16th, 17th on defense, is that a fair assessment of where you think they could be with DeAndre Ayton as their center?
They're not going to win a championship if they're sitting in the mid-teens. If they want to win a championship, they'll have to be in the top 10, somewhere in the around 10. Because I think their offense could cause some damage if each guy has improved. That's going to be starting other than LeBron. LeBron's just the same. So if they can get to 10, 12 defense consistently throughout the year and have a dynamite offense, they have a good shot at making some noise.
Johnny, I said one of the worst benches in the NBA. One of the worst. I didn't say the worst. One of the worst benches in the league last season, statistically. Milton is not with the Lakers. Yes, Shake Milton is gone. So Kevin Love, are you talking about Johnny as well? Kevin Love is on Utah. Just to let you know as well. But yeah, but again, they were one of the worst benches. Best League says, Gerald, our bench unit was not good, but DFS was more of a starter, and Gabe is only one bench player, nor all the bench. Gabe over Austin had better outcome. You're not convincing anybody on this Best League. Come on. 6 points a game, 1 rebound, 1 assist in 21 minutes a game.
What are you talking about? Best, seriously, go. You're becoming worst league right now again.
DFS
Gabe barely played, guys. Did you not watch the games? He didn't even play in the playoffs. Like what? 30 minutes total? Come on, guys, wake up. If you're just trolling, I guess okay, fine, but I hope you guys aren't being serious. Otherwise, you guys have serious comprehension issues.
And DFS was a spot starter. He did spot start time, but he was mainly a bench player when he came over from Brooklyn, coming off the bench. And if that's the case, then you have to count him as part of that bench. And as a bench player, primarily, he was okay at best. Good defender, spotty offensively, because there were games where he would get you 15, 17 points. And Joe, as you and I noted, he would get us 2 or 3 sometimes the next night. He's a 10-point a game player. That's what he's been throughout his entire career. He just goes right to the mean, Joe. Whether you give him a lot of minutes or not too many, it's right to the mean on 10 points a game. He's an adequate, average NBA player right now. And he's been, for a good chunk of his career, which again, to his credit, has earned him a lot of money over the course of his lifetime in the NBA. And
yes, Tony, I would start if he's healthy and capable, I would start Marcus Smart and put Reeves at the 6. Yes, but it's not going to happen.
Johnny, I want to see LaRavia play defense first on the Lakers, just a little bit before I say if he's comparable to defense, because DFS was a player that JJ could count on to try and play credible defense against opponents both during the regular season and the playoffs. Again, you have to give him that. Is DFS going to start? Here's a good point, Trojan. DFS, I don't think will start, even with the injury to Fred VanVleet. I don't think he'll start the season. I think they might go with Reed Shepherd as far as their point guard, and then try to go from there, or maybe bring in Tari Eason, but maybe they'll bring in DFS. Maybe they will. But yeah, things are kind of up in the air because I don't know how they'll approach it with the injury to Fred VanVleet. And that was the original intent, Jay, but with Fred VanVleet being out, who pops in there? Is it going to be Shepherd? Do they have enough confidence in him to start him right away as that point guard? Or are they going to make Amen Thompson the point guard? If that's the case, they move Amen Thompson over to the point guard. Who do they put in his slot? DFS, Tari Eason, those would be the two candidates that, or Jabari Smith. Do they bring him into the starting lineup? So that's something that there. Aaron Holiday, you're saying, okay, they could start him but he's not going to play a ton of minutes for them because he's not a starting level NBA point guard anymore or at all. So yeah, he's someone that you use as your third point guard, and it would be a nice addition for that. But there you go, Joe. We got through it.
Good work tonight.
Good work.
Good discussions. Some of your guys' analysis stink, but it's still early. We can get better. Get better, guys. Best. You need to change your name to worst right now, and then I'll let you know when you can go back to best.
Besley says, I'm not telling that game
and it's not going to go from worst to best. It's going to go from worst to not good, then best. If you get better, do better.
Best League says, I'm not saying that Gabe is a better player than Austin. I just say the outcomes with Gabe and Luka was better.
No, they weren't. No, they were not. Sorry. I watched those combinations. It was a disaster.
You're talking about a smaller sample size, a much smaller sample size than a larger sample size with Austin, because Austin gets the majority of the minutes. So, and plus also you have to mark, when Gabe's in the game, who is he playing with? Is he playing against other second team or third team players? Austin's usually playing, quite a bit against first team players. So, I mean, you have to take those things in consideration as well. It's not just the fact when you're looking at those hard stats of a plus this or a minus that or a plus that. You have to look at the scope of the game. And that's why you watch the games as well, to make sure you can evaluate it properly and see, okay, is Gabe playing against the top players, the starting lineups, and having that same kind of success, or is Gabe having that kind of success when he's playing against the scrubs at the beginning of the second quarter? That's something you have to evaluate as well. But yeah, just again, the plus 12 to versus plus 3.3 is you just can't it's like apple to oranges. Again, are they playing against the same players in these games? Are they playing against the same lineups in the same game? You can't compare the two. It's just not comparable, because of the fact that when do they come into the game? When does Austin get the bulk of his minutes, and who does he play against? If he's playing against Anthony Edwards the majority of his minutes, of course he's not going to look as good as when Gabe Vincent plays against Terrence Shannon Jr., for instance, as a rookie backup on Minnesota. I give that as an example. So, yeah. Johnny said Lakers sign Euro Sasha from Kings 2024.
Yay.
But yes, also watching the games, our lineups for Gabe was more efficient from what you saw. And Gabe was 6 points in just 21 minutes. I appreciate you watching, Best, and I am going to finish up your article. I am committed to doing it. I just gotta, because like you said, it was just the second language thing, and I'm trying to make it make sense for everybody out there as well. and still try to make it as best what you said. So pardon the pun. But Joe, I think we're going to call it a night. I think my head hurts. So again, after hearing Rob, hearing JJ, and then hearing these crazy theories. But again, truly appreciate you joining us. Any less Lakers sign me to turn them into jailblazers. Why? What, are you going to go on a crime spree, Johnny, after you get signed by the Lakers?
I have nothing to say.
Okay. I feel like I'm just watching Fonzie jumping the shark, right? Because it's the Lakers fast break. Oh, I love you, chat. I love you, chat. You guys are great. But thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back. We'll give a training camp preview. How about that? Everybody's doing their training camp previews. So Joe and I will come back next time around. We'll give our own training camp preview because we know you like that stuff. We know you eat it up, and we know that you appreciate everything we do because we appreciate you, despite our cynicism at times and our teasing and back and forth and whatnot. We do appreciate you stopping by. We do appreciate you spending an hour and a half plus with us. That does not go unnoticed or unappreciated by us, but we want to thank you so much for joining us. Joe Soro Experiment, please like and subscribe. And then, of course, like and subscribe to everything that we do right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Joe, I think on that note, I think I'm going to go have some popcorn.
Me too. Have a good night.
You too. Snack pack.
Bye-bye.